If you had walked past Isabelle Marlowe on a quiet afternoon, you would have thought she was just another woman in town. Polite, elegant, perfectly dressed, smiling at the right moments, nodding as if the world belonged entirely in harmony. Children smiled at her, neighbors trusted her, colleagues sought her advice. Yet beneath that calm, charming exterior, Isabelle's mind never rested. She observed every glance, every hesitation, every nervous twitch. She cataloged fears, desires, habits, and secrets. To her, every person was a puzzle to study, manipulate, and ultimately control. Her fascination with human behavior began early. Even as a teenager, she noticed subtleties that others ignored. The way someone shifted their weight when lying, the minute tremble in a voice, the quick flick of an eye. She recorded patterns mentally, building profiles of those around her. Early manipulations were subtle, whispered suggestions, guidance in decisions, planting small ideas. Her friends, oblivious, acted exactly as she anticipated. She quickly realized that power lay not in confrontation, but in invisibility, the ability to shape outcomes without anyone noticing the hand that guided them. Her first act of destruction was careful and precise. A fellow student had dismissed her ideas during an important presentation. Isabelle orchestrated small, seemingly accidental mishaps, misdirected emails, lost assignments, and subtle rumors whispered to peers. Slowly, he faltered, doubting his abilities, isolated by circumstances he could not comprehend. Isabelle, meanwhile, remained the supportive friend, the sympathetic confidant. She discovered the intoxicating thrill of watching someone's life crumble while her own reputation remained untarnished. The first murder came later, meticulously planned. The victim, a man who questioned her motives, received an invitation to dinner at her apartment. Lighting was soft, music carefully chosen, wine perfectly poured. Isabelle guided conversation, laughed at her stories, listened intently, all while slipping a sedative into his drink. His fall down the staircase was staged, a misaligned rug, a calculated stumble. At the funeral, she wept convincingly, each tear choreographed, each quiver rehearsed. Her brilliance lay in maintaining innocence while committing the unthinkable. From that point, her manipulations escalated. She studied every target before action, cataloging weaknesses, fears, and desires. Some were subtle, careers ruined, friendships dissolved, reputations damaged. Others were lethal. Every act was calculated. She studied police methods, forensic psychology, and criminal patterns, always staying steps ahead. Life was a continuous exercise in observation, infiltration, manipulation, and control. In her new city, Isabelle continued her cycle. She volunteered, befriended neighbors, charmed colleagues, and observed every minor detail. Every conversation, every gesture, every smile was a tool. Invisible, she moved like a shadow, unnoticed but omnipresent. Her eventual unraveling began with Claire, a young woman who refused manipulation. Claire noticed inconsistencies, minor contradictions, odd behaviors, and strange phone calls. She meticulously documented them, linking patterns across time and geography. The subtle accidents, psychological pressure, and disappearances began to form a clear pattern. Claire's persistence forced authorities to re-examine what they had ignored. Meanwhile, Isabelle escalated her manipulations further, confident no one could see her hand. She attempted to coerce a colleague into confessing to a crime he did not commit. In doing so, she used a distinctive, repeated phrase, a linguistic fingerprint from years of manipulation. Forensic analysts recognized it instantly. Suddenly, all subtle traces pointed to her. The invisible web she had spun for years began to unravel. When confronted, Isabelle's composure remained unbroken. Calm, confident, almost proud, she explained her methods with chilling rationality. Behavioral experts described her as one of the most calculating female psychopathic criminals in modern history. She acted not from passion, rage, or jealousy, but from deliberate, cold calculation. Every action was premeditated, every victim carefully chosen. Her genius was subtlety, patience, and invisibility. Even behind bars, Isabelle continues to study those around her, cataloging every weakness, every reaction, and every potential move. Life is a game for her. Every person is a piece. Every action is a move. Victims remember her charm, her warmth, and only later realize the psychological destruction she inflicted. To Isabelle, these were victories, silent, elegant, invisible. The story deepens when we explore the victims' perspectives. They recall conversations where she seemed trustworthy, advice that seemed helpful, smiles that made them feel safe. Slowly, subtle pressures mounted, doubts planted, secrets exploited, trust eroded. Careers collapsed, friendships fractured, relationships strained to breaking. And Isabelle watched, silent and unseen, as her careful manipulations took effect. Her victims often blamed themselves, never realizing the invisible hand that had guided their downfall. The police investigation was meticulous. Detectives pored over files, tracing patterns across cities. Surveillance footage was reviewed frame by frame, phone records analyzed, witnesses questioned repeatedly. Yet Isabelle had prepared for every contingency. She had altered appearances, fabricated alibis, and erased traces of manipulation. Only Claire's persistence allowed the web of influence to become visible. Investigators were stunned by the extent and subtlety of Isabelle's control. The final confrontation was tense. Claire, accompanied by detectives, brought Isabelle into a controlled interview room. Isabelle smiled as if greeting an old friend. The conversation began innocently, discussing past events, people, and places. Slowly, questions became more pointed, evidence was presented, and patterns revealed. Isabelle's calm demeanor never wavered. She listened, analyzing every reaction, anticipating every countermove. Only a flicker in her eyes betrayed a faintest recognition. Her carefully built world had been decoded. Even in the prison environment, Isabelle continues to observe. Other inmates are cataloged, their routines memorized, guards are studied, their weaknesses noted. Life, she understands, is eternal strategy. She waits, patient for the next opportunity. The chessboard remains, and she remains its undefeated master. Every smile, every gesture, every trust placed in her hands becomes another piece in her perfect game. Her story serves as a chilling lesson. Evil is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers, smiles, comforts, and waits. It calculates, it manipulates, it shapes events without detection. Isabelle Marlowe knew this truth better than anyone. Every human is a pawn, every relationship a strategy, every moment a move. And in her game, Isabelle always wins. Even now, long after her crimes have been exposed, she continues to study, plan, and observe. Shadows bend to her perception, people move as she predicts, and the world continues to follow the invisible path she has laid. In her mind, the game never ends. The pieces are eternal, and she remains, as she always has, the shadow player who cannot be defeated. Her final reflection, captured in the quiet of her cell, is almost serene. Control is the ultimate victory. Life is not about the strong or the brave, but about the unseen influence, the silent manipulation, the patience to wait for the perfect moment. And Isabelle Marlowe, above all, understands that truth better than anyone. She has mastered life itself as a game. And the game, for Isabelle Marlowe, is far from over.